Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to go over our accounts here again, looking for the potential here within the bullish count that we are looking at this as a 1-2, effectively looking for more evidence of a third wave structure to the upside. Now, this wave 2, technically speaking, can still look to come down deeper here. We did come down to this 0.382, and what I'm doing at the moment is waiting to see if we see price respond to the upside. If we see price continue to push down here one more time, other target areas that we could be looking to target would be this 50% to this 786 area here at this 27,908 to this 26,080 level. So this would be our support zone for this bullish count. Now we also need to just be aware there is the alternative count here, where from further back what we are saying is that this could be a W, this could be an X wave, and we're looking for a Y wave to the downside. Now, if we're looking for a Y wave, the minimum requirement we're looking for here is this 28,416, and the 1-to-1 is sitting here at this 26,507. Now, the alternative to this is that we could also argue that we have a B wave into this high here, in which case what we'd be looking for would be a 5-wave move to the downside. Now, if we do look for a C wave, the most common area for this to target out is this 25,360 to this 23,646 as a C wave, as an expanding flat. Now, those are the most common. If we do see a move down towards this 1-to-1, however, we could get something like a running flat in here. So we need to be on the lookout for these things. At the moment, we need to see how price responds to this level. What I want to see here is whether we continue to push to the upside, or alternatively, if we just get corrective moves up, we could be potentially looking for this lower target. Now, if we are looking at that possibility of this completing where it is, what we are saying is that we're looking at this potentially as a flat correction here. And what we would then be saying is that this is our A wave, this is our B wave, and then saying 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, we also need to be careful if this is the case, that until we actually take this high, this could also just be 1, 2, and then we look to break down for a 3, 4, and a 5. It is also possible that within the structure, we can look at this slightly different and say that this is W, X, and Y into this point here. And what we could have is that this could be a connector wave here, and we could still see price look to fall down one more time in the 3-wave structure. So we need to be on the lookout for these things until we actually see price push up high enough here to invalidate these ideas. Effectively, we need to be cautious of this potential of seeing price continue to the downside. Now, within that idea of continuation down, what we'd be saying is that if this move is not completed, there's two ways that I'm currently looking at this. So within this count, we could potentially have this as 1, 2. This is another 1 and a 2. And what we'd be looking for is 1.618 to fall to the downside, saying that we are looking for this 27,174 as a potential target. Now, this is where we need to be careful until we actually break back above this invalidation point here at this 30,391. We do have this potential. Now, the other way we could also argue that this could look to play out to the downside would be that within here we have this as 1 and 2. Now, if we do have this as a 1 and a 2 within this area, effectively until we break once again above this 30,350, we need to be careful of the idea that we start to form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we look to push down towards this 1618 level here of this 27,753. So if we do see price failing to hold these levels here and we start to see it continue to break to the downside, I'm going to be keeping an eye out on this idea of coming down into this zone of this 27,753. Now, the problem is if we do see a move down in that way, what we have to be careful of then is that if this is 1, 2 here, this would all then become 3, we get 4 and 5. So that's why we need to be a little bit cautious on how price is actually reacting in these levels, and then we need to see what happens from that point, because if we do continue to hold this low, we do have a potentially bullish count where we're looking to break to the upside, but we need to see whether we can actually maintain that level. So within the idea of coming down here, we also need to just respect that if we're looking at this as A, B, and C, there is also potential that we could see something like a diagonal looking to play out. And what I'd be looking for within this idea here is effectively we could also argue that this is 1 into here. But within the last bit of this move, we could also get something along these lines. So if this is just A, this is B, and we're looking for a C wave down in that WXY, what we could see is something along these lines where what this is our wave 1. We have this as a wave 2. We get a wave 3 down, 4, 5. So if we form this contracting shape to the downside, then it would become more likely that we actually So we're either looking at this as A, B, and C, which would be the most likely in my opinion. Or alternatively, within the structure, we already have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get another 3-wave move down for a 5. Now, that's not my favorite interpretation of this, and would rely on saying that this was A, B, and C here. Like I said, it's not the greatest way of looking at it, and then the internals wouldn't really be great here. So it would make more sense as a C wave. Now, if that was the case, then we'd be looking at that idea that this is W, X, and Y, and then we'd be expecting a move to the upside from that point. But now, if we are talking about this more locally here, what we were talking about in the previous video was that potential that this is W, this is X, and this is Y. Now, if this is a WXY and we're going to look to form another X wave here, what we could then see is the potential that this becomes A, B, and C to the upside. So if we do just see a 3-wave move up here towards this 31,042 to this 30,119, we need to be very careful of that idea that we could still see continuation to the downside, looking to bring us back into this area here of this 27,894. Alternatively here, what we also need to be a little bit careful of is because I'm currently looking at this as WXY. If we're going to look at it in this way, if we're going to say that, then we have to be careful that this isn't WXY. This is another X wave here. And then we see 3 waves to the downside for a Z wave. So this would be a 333 correction, and they're not that common, but it is possible that we could see something like this as a 3-wave move down into this area, and that would then actually move into this 28,421 in a 3-wave structure, and could potentially then look to complete this move. Until we actually break back above these highs though, we need to be careful of that more bearish scenario, because if we do get 5-wave structures as in a zigzag here, need to be on the lookout that until we actually take these previous highs, these moves can always look to extend out. So that's the danger when we get 5-wave structure down. We need to be aware that they can always look to extend out. So we want to see price breaking back above these highs. Now, if we are looking at this case and we're saying that this is a flat correction here and we're looking for our B wave, we have already come down towards this 0.854, and we are currently holding this level as support. If we start to break down too deep here, then it becomes more likely that, you know, this move is potentially going to be looking for this Z wave to the downside. Alternatively, what we could also argue here is that if we are looking at this as this idea of a flat correction here, what we could then see is that we could see a 3-wave move to the downside like this. Now, if this becomes ABC and then we see ABC, this in itself could be becoming a bigger flat correction. So if we do see price here manage to maintain this low and see a small push to the upside, failing to break back above this 29,804 level, then potentially what we could get here is that this could be our A wave, we get B wave up, and then we look for that potential of a break to the downside again. Now, if we do look at this area here, we'll be watching this golden pocket here, this 29,650 to this 29,614. If we do see price starting to respond to the upside. If we start to see 5-wave structure up here though, we need to be cautious, because this could actually indicate that our bullish case is going to be playing out, where in the short term either we get this as our A wave, this is a B, and then we get a C wave to the upside, in which case what we would be looking for is that idea that within this structure we could be looking for this white C wave to play out to the upside. We do have the channel above us towards this area here of this 30,733. So we'll be watching out for this potential of a move up here. But like I said, we've got to be very careful here, because we are geared up with those 1s and 2s that if price action starts to break down aggressively, then it would look to rather confirm those ideas of that continuation to the downside. Now, within the bullish count, what we are saying is that we would be looking at this structure in 2 ways. So I'm actually going to go over the way that invalidated yesterday. We're talking about the fact that, you know, this could be 1, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then we could be looking for a 4th. But we're saying that because this 4th wave was already quite large in comparison to this wave 2, that this was very unlikely. Now, it is possible that we could still, for as long as we hold 28,585, see price look to rally. So we have come down here between this 618 and the 0786. So what I want to see here is I want to see if price responds to the upside. Like I said, we got to be careful here, because if we get just a 3-wave move up here, this would align with the idea of this as a B wave, and then we see that continuation to the downside in a C wave. So going to be watching these highs and seeing how price actually moves here. If we start to see price respond to the upside from this point, and we start to see a push up in a bigger 5-wave structure, something like this, this could align with the idea of starting to see some extension. Now, the problem is with what we'd have to see here off of our current level for more evidence of this would be at least a move above this 29,527. And then what we'd want to see is price actually form this as 1, 2, we'd get that 3rd wave, 4th wave, 5th wave. Then we'd be looking for the potential of another 3-wave move down, and then looking for that continuation up if we're looking at this bullish count. Now, this bullish count would only get confirmed by a bigger break up here towards this 31,856 level. And if we start to push up in this way, effectively what this would mean is that this 3rd wave would be in play. We'd look for evidence of this 4th wave, and then we'd look for this 5th wave to the upside. Now, if we do get something like this playing out, what we need to be very careful of here is that there is still potential here that, you know, this could be A, this could be B, and then we're looking for a C wave to the upside. So need to just be on the lookout for this idea that if we do get 5 waves up, only by getting another 3-wave retracement and finding support above these lows will we have confirmation of, you know, a continuation to the upside. So we need to watch these levels, see how price responds. If we are looking at this as 1, 2, we need to see price breaking up and forming nice clean 5-wave structure. If we do see price break to the upside here, then it's going to become important whether we manage to hold these lows. Now, looking at the more bearish idea here of that breakdown, I just want to discuss this before we go on to the CPIs. We've got to be very careful with things like this, because what you can get sometimes here is you can get a series of 1s and 2s nestled inside here, where you get something like this as a 1, 2, 1, 2. The problem is that, once again, this wave 2 would be bigger in this case, but really until we actually break this high here, just going to be a little bit cautious of the idea that, you know, this could still be something like a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we're starting to extend out directly from this point, and then potentially we could have something like this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into here. This is a small wave 2. This becomes a bigger 1, 2. But like I said, because of the size of this move here, it is looking more likely that this is going to be either a starting move to the upside or a connector move here, and then we're going to see that continuation down after a rejection higher up. But until we take these highs, need to be careful of that idea of continuation down. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that we're currently underneath our central lines. So these are fairly unchanged from yesterday, and what I'm looking for here is that if we do see price move back to the upside here, potentially we could look to find resistance at this 29,282, this 29,377, and this 29,480. If we do just see something like this as a 3-wave move up here, we need to be cautious of that idea of this just being A, B, and C, and we have a really short B wave here, which doesn't manage to move up into that higher level. Alternatively, if we do see price look to reverse to the upside here, potentially targets for today is this 29,844. We have this 30,502, 30,967, and this area here of this 31,625. If we do see price reject to the downside and continue this move down, what we do have as targets for today is this 28,727. We have this level here of this 28,262, 27,594, and this 27,152 as potential targets for today to the downside. So this is why we need to just be a little bit careful here that, you know, if we do have something like a 1, 2, 1, 2 nestled in here, we could see price look to react to the downside in that way. Now, if we come over here and switch this onto the weekly pivots, what we can see is that we're currently underneath our central CPR lines. We are also above this S1 line here. So if we do see price look to push back to the upside, we could potentially once again find resistance here between this 29,482 to this 29,342. So if we do see price retest this area here effectively and see it reject, this could align with the idea of getting that continuation down. Targets for this week is this 28,727, which we've already come back into once. If we move down lower, we have this 28,175 and this 27,489 as possible targets. Now, if we do look to the upside for potential targets, what we have here is this 29,962 if we can reclaim this area. And then we have other targets up here, 30,643, 31,198 as possible targets for this week. Moving over and having a look at the monthly pivots now, what we can see is that we are still currently below our monthly pivots. These did print higher, but they are overlapping. So this is initially giving us a moderately bullish bias. Now we need to see whether price action confirms this by breaking back above these lines. If we continue to see price rejecting off these levels, what this could indicate is price could actually look to move down towards this 28,124. Now these areas of potential resistance above us would be 29,600. We have this 29,967 and this area here of this 30,334 as possible upside targets. So this one's going to be particularly interesting to me. You know, this is aligning with these highs over here. Going to be keeping an eye on that, as well as this one that is aligning with this high over here. If we do see price, however, break to the downside, like I said, we have this 28,129. We also have this area here of this 27,016 and this 25,177 as potential downside targets. Moving to the upside, if we do manage to break back above these levels, targets could be this 31,065, 32,906 and this 33,999 as possible upside targets for this month. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.